Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Whistle. Today, we're analysing the County Cup final between Abbeymead Rovers and Finton. Both these teams won their respective leagues, but the game wasn't as tight as you'd imagine. Abbeymead Rovers came out the 4-0 winners. There's lots to cover in this game, a few good decisions that we had to make, and so let's dive straight into the review.
There was a comment last week about showing a bit more than just the cards I gave, which I think is really good point. So we're going to go through more than just the cards, go through some decisions that I did make and that I didn't make, things that I kind of decided to let go that could be fouls. So let's just jump straight in. So about a minute and a half in, we get this first foul. First looking at it, obviously there's not really much in it. However, we're early in the game. It's a centre-half versus a striker going for a challenge. And as you'll see, the striker doesn't really make an attempt to play the ball. He kind of just leans into the defender. For me, this is a foul because he's not tried to play the ball. He's just tried to nudge the defender as he's going up to head it. So safe for me, I think, early in the game, just give the foul, settles down early doors, and no tensions rise early in the game. Just a couple minutes after that, we get a decision where we have to give a goal kick or a corner. It's not near our assistant referee, it's near us, so it's the expectation that we make the decision on this. So let's take a look. So you'll see that as that ball comes in, the Finton defender heads it into the Abbeymead defender's back. And before players even have a chance to turn around and appeal, I give the signal for a goal kick. Early in the game, I want players to know that I'm on top of it and ready to make a decision. So rather than them turning around, appealing, and then I give a decision, I want to give it nice and quick, really confident, and then by the time they turn around, they're like, oh, he's already got it. Bam. I don't know if players even think like this, but in my mind, that's why I'm doing it. So just a minute after that, Abbeymead get a shot on goal. Obviously, as that ball's coming in, it seems like a nothing shot. And it could be really easy to switch off here. But I told myself, no matter what happens throughout the game, stay switched on and stay alert. And as you can see, the goalkeeper fumbled it. There's potential for a collision in the box, a foul to occur. And so we make sure we're nice and ready for that. So I was really happy to watch this back and see that I was, on my toes and ready to make a decision. So one thing to note as well, on the first throw-in of the game that's near an assistant referee, me and the assistant put our signal up at the exact same time. And this is something we spoke about in the pre-match, was if there's a decision near you, then we'll go up together early in the game. And the reason for this was I basically explained that if we can get the small decisions correct and they look well put together early in the game, then if we have to make big decisions later on, then we'll already have earned the trust of the players, the fans, the coaches. And so it's really important for us that early in the game we got these small decisions correct. So you'll see that as that ball goes out, me and Charlie are looking right at each other. I signal down below to my left, he signals down below to his right, which is obviously right because we're facing each other, and then we put our arms up at the same time. So it looks really, really good, and we're absolutely in sync, so really happy with that. So following that goal kick that comes from the throw-in, we get our second foul of the game. So the ball gets played long from the Abbeymead goalkeeper, and then as the Abbeymead player is trying to play it around the corner, the defender catches him. We give the foul. It's just a careless foul. There's no real need to have a long chat with the player, but just notice that it is the right midfielder, and I just tell him, just careful, mate. Caught him a little bit late. Let's just be sensible. And he says, yeah, no worries, ref. And so we're straight back in. From that free kick, we have an offside decision. So as the ball comes in, that lad that goes to head the ball is offside and the assistant puts his flag up. However, because he's missed it, we're about to blow our whistle, but then the goalkeeper's got it in his hands. So we give a big thumbs up to thank him and say, yeah, we can play on. Just because the assistant puts their flag up for offside doesn't mean you have to stop play. Finton, the team in red, I imagine, would much rather the goalkeeper just have the ball in his hands than for me to stop play and give a free kick. So because there was no danger of a collision, we just allowed, play to carry on and we could play the advantage and get on with the game. Again, if this was a Saturday morning where I don't have assistants and the club assistant puts his flag up, I'm probably just going to blow for offside to make it nice and simple. But County Cup final, Obviously, the teams both just want to play, so if we've got the opportunity to do that, I think it was important to do so. We then get another offside decision a couple minutes later. So as the ball gets played over the top, you'll see that the Finton fullback clears the ball, and then the flag goes up for offside. The reason the assistant is given this as offside is because the only reason that the fullback has decided to head away the ball is because obviously he's got this player in an offside position behind him, so this impacts play. He doesn't necessarily have to play the ball to be offside. Where he is has really impacted the action of the defender, and so that's why we gave an offside. Then we get another foul. The lad just gets kicked, and then there's a little nudge of the ball towards him. You'll hear the benches complain. You'll see me have a word with him. I just tell him just to settle down a little bit, and he acknowledges it, and we move on. This is a real thing about refereeing as well. A lot of the things you do on the pitch go unnoticed. The little conversations you have, the little words you have with players, they go a long way throughout the game, and it's not something that everybody will pick up on. But absolutely do them. They're a great way to control the game and build relationship with players. Again, because it's a final, we have a corner decision to make and, potential for a foul in the penalty area. If any of you guys and girls have watched him for a while, you'll know that I've got a terrible habit of staying outside of the box. So in this final, I've really made sure to, follow into the box when play happens, so that, again, I'm right on top of play when there's a decision to make. So then about 20 minutes into the game, we get struck by the ball. What a nightmare. So as the number 9 cuts in, I glance to my left to look out to play, and I notice that there's a switch available. So rather than drop him back to be in the way, I step forward to allow that pass out wide. He actually then obviously plays it to the lad behind me, and I get stuck in a horrible position. He then plays a little reverse pass over the top. I'm obviously stood there. I try and duck and it hits me. That's so annoying. When that ball comes in to the lad that stood behind me, maybe I could accelerate out of that gap there. In reality, I'm just in a horrible position. But I tried to be proactive and move forward so he could switch it and then I could drop back in. That's not what happened. I've got caught. So next time, I think, in this final third, it's important just to keep play in front of you all the time. So what do you do when the ball hits you? If the ball hits you and it changes possession, then you have to restart with a drop ball to the team that kicked it at you. What's interesting though is I drop it and then this lad shoots. If he would have scored, this would not have counted. Okay, you cannot score directly from a drop ball. If he would have scored directly from a drop ball, it would have just been a goal kick. So fun bit of trivia for you there. Right, then this situation is so interesting, and I really want to get your guys' take on this because I was completely baffled at what I'd seen in the moment. So let's watch it first. The lad in red comes flying in. He takes out his own player and then subsequently takes out the other lad. Now, obviously, this is a foul because even though he's taken out his own player, he's taken the other guy out in the process. I was trying to process if he brought his lad down and then the lad that he brought down had tripped the other guy. I honestly didn't know. So I glanced up. I had no reaction from my assistant or my fourth official. So I was like, well, I can't penalise him for fouling his own teammate. I think you can only do that for violent conduct. I don't think you can give a foul for reckless play on their own player. I don't think that's a thing. However, this could have still been a foul. Thankfully, nothing really happens. They actually go on the attack. So it doesn't lead to anything. But it was such a strange situation. I've never seen a player wipe their own player out like that. But in hindsight, it probably should have just been a foul. So I then give this free kick. The lad gets... It looked to me like the lad got tripped. From this angle, it actually looks a bit soft. I tried to see if I could play advantage and he goes forward, but he couldn't, so I brought it back. But I'm not sure there's actually enough in it to be a foul there. Following that free kick, we actually get a collision between the forward and the goalkeeper. We have a really good angle on it, and from this angle it looks terrible, it looks like a really bad collision, but I think we have another angle of it, so I'll put it in. It's not as bad as it looked. Obviously I've blown the whistle just so everybody knows that I've seen it, but I'm just free kick, goal kick is the same outcome here. So I don't signal for a free kick, but I just go in that word and say, mate, you've got to be very careful in situations like that. For me, it wasn't necessarily reckless. The collision wasn't as bad as it looked on that first angle. So just a careless foul for me and a quiet word. We then have a word with the goalkeeper to basically check that he's all right and just so that he knows that I've had a word with the player, and then we can get on with the game. So that same player that wiped out his own teammate then puts in quite a strong tackle here. It's a brilliant tackle, but it's very strong. And so we just need to keep our eyes. Wiped out his own player. He's then put in a pretty strong challenge on this lad, which I got no problem with. But we just need to be mindful now that if that's the type of tackles that he likes to make, then we might need to keep an eye on him as the game progresses. And yeah, that is half time. It's so interesting because in the moment, I felt really crap at half time. I felt like I wasn't getting into great positions and I'd been hit by the ball. So all that I could think about was the fact that I got hit by the ball and I wasn't in good positions. But watching it back, I feel like the half's gone well. We've managed some situations well. I feel like our foul and card recognition has been good. So there's not actually too much to be upset about. A few positioning things, don't get me wrong, as there always will be because we're learning. But all in all, a relatively good half, I think. The second half's a lot more eventful, so let's jump straight into it. So early into the half, we get a throw-in decision, and we end up giving a foul. Let's have a look. So as that ball comes in, you'll see these two lads tussling, and the number 23's got his hand up on his shoulder. It's a very tight throw-in call, and it's in front of all the benches. For me, a lot of people have spoken to me about safe refereeing. And for me, the lad's got his arm up on his shoulder, they're tussling. And so rather than give a controversial kind of throw-in that's, really we got a 50-50 chance of getting it right, I felt like it was appropriate just to give a foul. It felt like the safe decision. Now, it's such an interesting concept that I'm still trying to wrap my head around because I'm always just thinking about making the right decision. But I guess as referees, we operate very much in these grey areas, right? Not everything is black and white. And I think this is one of those situations. You could give it as a foul. You could leave it. You could give it defensive. You could give it attacking for the throw-ins. But the safest option really is probably just to give a foul and say there's nothing happening in front of the benches. But I'm interested to know your guys' thoughts. It's a whole new concept to me, but something I'm really intrigued about. So then we get some low-level simulation from the goalkeeper. So as Finton got on the attack, you'll see that the goalkeeper comes running out and makes a challenge with the Finton player. We've got a really good view on it, and then he goes down holding his face. We know full well there's been no contact with the face, and there's another angle to show that. And so as he's rolling the ball out, we tell him we don't want any of that in this game. Obviously, could you give a penalty for simulation? Well, like an indirect free kick, for simulation. Yes, but nobody on the planet expects you to do that, and I don't think it's a good thing to do for the football match. So we just tell him, do not try and do me over like that. I won't have it, basically, and that's that. So that same player that wiped his own player out, then put in a strong tackle in the first half, then puts in another strong tackle here. From my angle, I was actually a little bit blocked off, if I'm honest. You'll see that I'm actually looking through two players here to try and see contact on the ball. The ball comes through out the other end, so for me it looked like an okay tackle. From this other angle, you can see he does win the ball, but he actually catches him afterwards. I'm not sure if it would be a yellow card for reckless play. In the context of the game, I think you could give it, but I actually didn't even think it was a foul in the moment. But interested to know what you guys think. The ball ends up going out of play, and then we go and check on the player anyway as he's still down on the floor. He doesn't complain about the foul or anything, so we're all good there. Then shortly after that, we have to put in probably one of the biggest sprints I've ever put in a football match. The Finton right winger is absolutely lightning quick. And as they break on a corner, you'll see he gets a free run, and we have to try and keep up with him. He ends up putting the ball over the bar. And again, as there's a challenge that's about to come in, we are right on the edge of the box with a great view for it. And we carry our running into the box so players know that we are there. But man, he is quick, and it's really nice to see that I was able to keep up with play there. So then we get this foul.
They try to get to him as quickly as they are.
Great feet.
That could be the first flare-up of proceedings. That'll be one for the YouTube.
Decides, absolutely, yeah, that will be a talking point.
We'll hear from Eric Edge about why he didn't card him in that one.
You'll notice the commentator, Ryan, who is part of Seven Sport, big thank you to Seven Sport for providing the commentary, by the way, speaks about how I'll explain why I didn't give a yellow card here. And he's absolutely right, I will. From my angle, it looked like the lad had left the floor, but not lunged at the opponent. It looked like he'd left the floor, but around him to try and hook his leg round. This was kind of the first really reckless type of foul that we had, as you've seen, because I've shown all the fouls so far. So as he jumps in and commits the foul, we give it, and then we isolate the player to have a chat. Now, as I said, this is the first tackle of this nature we had in the game. It didn't look as bad to me from where my angle was compared to the reverse angle, which you'll see. And he's left the floor and he has kind of lunged his leg, so it probably should be a yellow card. However, in the moment, I felt I could manage it by just having a word with him. Again, it was the first tackle of this nature, so it didn't feel to me like the game could get out of hand, so I've just had a word with him. But in hindsight, it probably could have been a yellow card, but I don't think the game needed it at this point. We then give a free kick on the halfway line that actually leads to a goal. So as the ball gets played up from the goal kick, it actually looks to me like the striker pushes the centre-half in the back. So that's why I gave the foul. There don't really seem to be any complaints. So yeah, it looked to me like there was enough of a nudge to put him off. Abbey Mead get this free kick, which they send long into the box. And the lad brings it down absolutely brilliantly. And they go 1-0 up. So we're just over an hour into the game and we haven't given out any cards, which is honestly a great feeling when I'm refereeing. I don't know about you guys, but when we get to this stage of the game, we've given out no yellows. It feels great because you've got them now as a tool that can actually have an effect on the game. If you're giving them out all game, it doesn't seem to have the same effect as if you've still got them in your arsenal later in the game. So that was a real nice feeling. We then have to give our first one, and this is what we give it for. So the number 7 takes a big touch, is a bit late, and yeah, catches him. To me, he's gone in, studs up, and from my angle, it looks like he's caught him on the foot. From the reverse angle, you'll see that's not actually the case. The Abbey Mead player kicks his shin, but it's still reckless play regardless for me. We're talking about, a tenth of a second that would have been the difference between him actually catching him on the foot with his studs. So I'm not giving the yellow on the outcome of the foul. It's the nature of the way he's gone in, which is reckless play for me. Abbey Mead then have a free kick, play the ball long into the box. And then as Finton are trying to clear it, Abbey Mead win the ball back and we have to give another free kick to Finton for that little clip on the heels. So as we mark out the wall, as I'm marking it out, it's right on the edge of the box. So in this situation, so it's clear to everybody, I never make the wall stand on the line. It sounds ridiculous, but either someone told me this and I can't remember who, but they said either have the wall in front of the line or have them behind the line, so then it's clear to everybody whether they're in the box or not. It's such a clever little tip. So if you're ever marking out the wall and they end up on the edge of the box, either have them just in front of the line or just behind it, and then everybody's clear on whether, if it hits their hand or something like that, are they in the box, are they outside? It makes life a lot easier. We then get our second yellow card of the game. Can you guess who it's for? So this lad has come on, the fullback, and he's made an immediate impact. He starts driving through the middle of the pitch and then gets absolutely wiped out. The reaction is warranted. The tackle is not very good. However, for me, it doesn't cross the threshold of serious foul play. It's a strong tackle that he catches him high, but the nature of the tackle is to just stop him in his tracks. I don't think he's actually tried to cause harm. And so for me, this is not brutal. It's not excessive force. It doesn't come under serious foul play. Also, the Abbey Mead player gets up very, very quickly, which helps the decision, right? Because he bounces up real quick. If he'd have started rolling along the floor screaming, we may have had a different reaction. But we show the yellow card quickly to try and diffuse the situation. And then we walk him away from the crowding, and I tell those players to move away as I chat with him. I could have had a chat with him before I shown the card, but I am in a bad habit of showing quick cards anyway, so that's what I do. But in this situation, I actually think it helps diffuse the situation a bit. So we move away, we pull him aside, we tell everybody to move away, and then that way I can have a word with him. I pull him and the captain in, and I just try and explain, mate, that is very, very, it's a very borderline challenge, so please be careful. Yeah, and I don't remember my exact wording, but I said something along those lines. Abbey Mead then actually convert the free kick and go 2-0 up. Shortly after, Abbey Mead get another chance and go 3-0 up. So at this point, it's 3-0, and in my head, realistically, the game is done. So what am I thinking? The game is over, so there shouldn't be much of delay in the restart. There's no real need. 2, Finton may start to get frustrated and put in some nasty tackles, so we need to be on top of that and have our eyes and ears, ready for anything. And then 3 is now just deliver the game to the end safely. It's 3-0. There's 15 minutes left. Let's just get everybody finishing the game safely. That was my thought process. Now, it's not to say I didn't believe that Finton could come back, right? Liverpool 2005, AC Milan. We've all seen crazy things happen, but 99 times out of 100 at 3-0 with 15 minutes left, the game's going to be over. Shortly after that, Abbey Mead then go on the attack, and they actually make it 4-0. It's a lovely pass, honestly, one of the best passes I've ever seen at this level. Outside the boot, over the top, and a lovely finish. 4-0 to Abbey Mead. So we then have a foul right in front of the benches, and something really interesting happens. So you'll see that the lad deliberately steps on the number 8's hand. From the aerial view, it's very clear that he deliberately steps on his hand. From my angle, I didn't see the actual contact with the foot and the hand, but based on the reaction and the reaction of the bench, you could pretty much guarantee that he had actually stepped on him. We blow our whistle and we get in there very, very quickly to defuse it because it's in front of the benches, and obviously they're already 4-0 up, so there's not really much for the Finton players to lose at this point. So we bring him away from the situation, and to give ourselves time to think, we call the captain in as well, and we tell him to stay here. At this point, I'm going through my mind, okay, is this violent conduct? Is it just unsporting behaviour? I came to the conclusion that with 5 minutes left, I think I can manage this with a yellow card. If you step on someone's foot, if you just step on their foot, is that violent conduct? I don't think so. So is it different because it's his hand? Maybe. But I don't think it met the threshold for violent conduct personally. You guys may disagree in that, you'd be totally within your rights to do that. But for me, I thought I could manage this game out with just a yellow card. So we pull the captain and him in, and we explain to him, okay, as far as I'm aware, I believe that he stepped on his hand. So you're going to get a yellow card. If I see anything like that again, I will send you into the dressing room. And so we show him a yellow card, and yeah, that's that. I'm really interested to know what you guys think. Do you think there should be is this a sending off offence? Do you think it meets the threshold for violent conduct? Or do you think you can, issue a yellow card here? Please let me know. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is full time. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a great honour to do my first ever County Cup final. There's not going to be a lot of content over the next few weeks, just to be transparent, but we'll get back as soon as we can when the pre-season friendlies hit. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Can't wait for next season. See you guys later.